So now we will start checking how to set things on a Revit model. So first step, it's always to create a new file. Unless we already have the file we want to work with. Then we will check that we have just the levels that we require. So this is important because we want elements to be on as contrariate levels as possible. And if we left all the elements or levels as well, or we have them too close, we don't know if they are going to be on the lower level, on the lowest, on the level we want. So better to improve that. Then another thing we need to match the units we're using in the file. So our first file were in millimeters. We're gonna keep it with that, millimeters. Or we can make the conversion on dynamo. So let's start by that. I'll make it here 800. That's it. So this one's millimeters. Now we can go for manage dynamo. And if you're new to dynamo, this is the interface. So this course thing, you can enter the beginner level. So I'm gonna skip some things, but I'm trying to explain all the nodes that we're using it step by step. We have first the settings of files, new, custom node, and open. Then we have the recent. So the files that we have already will be pretty much up here. In the case the script is break or gets broken in the process, you can click on backup location and that will bring it back. So you can read the last changes you have made. Then on the Ask, we have discussion forum, Dynamo website, the references if you want to check any other type of node, dictionary, or you want to just get a brief through Dynamo. You also have the Git repository and send the issues if you have problems with Dynamo, or if you want to have backup on GitHub. And on the lower part, we have a lot of samples that might be useful for some certain things, such as import, export, levels, calculations, connections, etc. So let's start with a new one. On this interface, we have the main screen of the geometry. We can change between geometry and nodes by clicking up here on the top right part. So the other one for nodes, it's when we have already created some nodes. On the left side, we will have the library with the basic library, having each particularly separated by categories. And on the lower part, we have some add-ons. So these will be libraries you download within the package use. Top part, we also have a set stuff. So if you already know the name of the node, you can call it. Doesn't matter where it is, if it's on the basic part or on the packages. And specifics that need to be configured before starting with Dynamo just need to be files. If you want to export model to STL, save it. The edit if you want to create nodes or a line. Mostly a lot of things within it, you can just select them and change it. Then we have the view. You need to check that you have the background preview available and the Revit background preview. So if you are doing something in Dynamo, you would see it in Revit. For the connectors, I recommend you to use curves because if you use polylines, sometimes they get over one of each other, so they can get confusing. The other ones depend on the version you have. The channel on workspaces are for doing performance analysis and workspace if you're missing a reference of any of the files. Then on the package, it's where you will search for new packages. We will see that when we need to get packages. And then on settings, depending on the scale. So in this case, because we're working in millimeters, units can go really quickly on a bigger scale because they are already 1000. So we'll need to work with large. If we change it to meters, it will go for medium because then we'll not have 1000 elements or 1000 numbers from the scale. And then we have here number format, 3 decimals is fine. Revit precision low because we wanted to work as fast as possible. And isolate selected geometry would be helpful so we can know what we are doing. You will need to have the design and help as part of it, and also have your warning. Perhaps that's it's just a dependency. I have two packages that have same values. So I'm making some progress. So once we have that, let's start by importing elements and using it. So in this case, normally I will start Dynamo with inputs geometry, but we will start with import because we want to read the elements. So very important with import is to run it manual, because if you left it automatic and the file is open, it will keep on looping for opening the file and then you won't get proper information. So import export, you go for data. Then we have export, import Excel, import export CSVs. We didn't make any CSVs at this time, so we will use it with import Excel. So we can see here that the connection is having a file, has a sheet name, and read as a string and show Excel. So it says the type of value you're requiring. So remember this behavior of Dynamo that everything needs to be with the proper contents, and the result it's gonna bring is gonna be the data. So for the file, our best guess is first going from data. All the same category, mostly you will find the data you're looking for. So we're looking for a file. We can use file from path. That will bring the file from a path, and then we can use a file path. So if we open browse will get into this one. So have extraction grids. So let's just start with something simple with grids. On the sheet name, remember we have created, so we can do it by creating a text. So it says sheet name is string. We need to find the string. So how can we do it? We can go to the basic one, that's input. And input basic, we have here string. Or also we can double click, and by using quotations, we can write summary. And it's to be properly capitalized summary. So that will go like that. Use the code block for false. Yeah, this is a string already. It doesn't need the quotations. Quotations go on code block. And show Excel false. So if we run it properly, and it's a manual, it should bring information data to our dynamic settings. So to review results, we can just go to the node, hover it down, and it's picking here some values. So we have mostly the 25 lines we have already created, but we need to read them, so we need to work around it. So the thing that you're seeing here are lists. This is a list of lists. It's bringing you the first row, second row, third, fourth, and so on. So fortunately for this file, the only one we need to get rid of is the first two ones, because it's a polyline with nodes and it's the names, but it helps us to know that we have a start, and the ends are a different location. So we have already done what we need from the import. We have the values as a list. Now we need to process information because this is list settings. We want to transform it into geometry. So let's start processing this information. We have several folders in this, and sometimes they become a little confusing because of the name, but don't worry, if you really know how the name is how the node is being called. You can call it from search or just try to find it out. So the first one we need to get rid of those two first rows. The function will be, I guess, modify its rest of items. Rest of items. So rest of items, what we'll do is if we click on the list and we run, it will get rid of the first list. We can do this a couple of times. A best way to do it is by selecting below, pressing Ctrl key and drag it in front of it. So that will do something like that. Another way of doing it will be if we just get rid of 0 and 1 elements. So there's one that is called remove item at index. Now remove item at index can be requested. So we can write both numbers if we use braces. So it can be 0 and 1 to be removed. And the result will be the same. But that's gonna be on this case scenario. So recommends can be to clean it so it works the same way every time. And in here we need to be careful because data is not properly aligned. We have start X, Y, and Z separated by the start end of the values. Since we already selected read as a string false, these numbers are actually numbers. So what do we need to do now? We need to start reading the points of the elements to decompress it. So we need to select particularly how they're going to be fitting. Because all the rows have the same construction, we can use a special function that is called transpose. It's organized. And the list transpose node, what we'll do is it will pick values from one to the other one, and it will give us all the lists that we're looking for. So that's going to be helpful because that way we have the information that we wanted. It's mixing the columns with the rows. And then we can call, we want to have here the start X point. For having that start X point, we can call it by the, we have it as well on the by file. It's inspect get item index. So with what index number 2, you can call index number 2, and it will bring values. So in this case, because we don't want to have too many elements being clustered around, we can also select both of them, right click and press load to code. That will make the list something like that. Or if we want to go on the fastest version, we can go for an A in braces with the number we want it to. So that will give us the same result as having the list being displayed, but it's gonna make it much more simpler on the code. So we have number 2. You can copy that one. We need to have number 3. We need to have that one, number 5. Remember that the order is gonna be really, really important. So once we have those, we also need to copy them for the endpoint. Endpoint, it's gonna be from 4, 6, and 7. 4, 6, and 7. And we can call from the equation to create a geometry. So since it's gonna be a 2 points line, it's not that curve, it doesn't have any breaking points. We can go for the geometry property. Of the geometry, we have point creation, and we can do the point creation by coordinates. So it's gonna have something like this: 1, 2, and 3. And if we run it, showing some problems here. It says double, 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 but it was called with string, string, string. So that means that even if it's not picked as a string, we're having a problem in converting that particular number. So it's not double. We need to make some changes. For doing that, we have a function on a string that it's modified and it's called toNumber. So we need to transform text to number. You can do it like this, or we can do it from here. Since all of them are going to be requiring the same type of concept. Yeah, in this case, it's showing a problem because it's not having any. It's just trying to pick all lists, so we need to make it like this, second structure. Yeah, it's still having some problems. Okay, so it's gonna keep it with the notes correctly. Now it's putting it up one to become numbers, and then we can drag this connection towards that. There we go. Now we have the points on that location since we're working on millimeters, and it looks something like this. So we see it fine in Revit. It's not that fine on Dynamo because it's millimeters, so it's really, really far from the location of the element. If we do this same thing down, we have the other points being crossed. And for making these two becoming lines again, just need to go up to the geometry, looking for a curve, line, I standpoint, endpoint, and that would make them came together. So it looks something like this. The grid is now ready to be created within the same data. So now that we have the result we wanted, we have the lines that we have already on Autodesk, and they are on the same location that we wanted to read. We need to make the things here. We can also make the changes on measurements so that they can fit within the Mavic. It's going to be healthier for Dynamo because that way the grid won't be on the spot. So I'm going to save it first. I'll save it as 01 port. I'm going to close it. Need to close Dynamo. Since we didn't create anything on Dynamo, it won't appear on screen. And then we can change the units. So instead of millimeters, let's change it to meters. Decimal spots. And that will make the modifications we're requiring. So if we run the import, just need to be careful in this part. I need to divide this one's A. Just writing middle code block A divided by 1000. On all values because we want to change the inner value to meters. And if we get closer now, as we're gonna make the so to fit, they are inside of breathe because values are now meters. Look the same on Revit, but definitely look different on Dynamo. And we also can change geometry scaling to the medium level, improve performance, also elements. Gonna save it back. And now that we have that one, let's start creating our elements. So these were supposed to be grids. If we want to convert things in Revit, if you already have used it, the Revit tab on the elements, and then you can look for the category you want to create. So depending if you are creating an instance type, parameter, field, region, etc. So if you want to create grids, we have grids by arc, by line, by start and endpoint. We can use the lines because we already have lines. So a line connected one with each other. It creates, and now we have the grids like this. Yeah, so probably not the best numbering location. So let's keep it back a little. In this case, we better use a little analysis to know which ones are on one side and which ones are on the other one, so we can know whereabouts they can be created. For knowing if they are on one side or the other, let's think that all lines were created properly. So they were created in one direction. We can analyze properties from the grid if we start using the characteristics they hold. So we can go for geometry, geometry curves, line, and we want to use a property called direction. What does the line direction hold? It will give me the vector value so that we can know which ones are on one side and which ones are on the other one. So for any of these circumstances, you can also see that there's one spots that have a set value up. So that means they weren't properly created on the file. We can review back a little here. We were using the set of values that we were requesting are actually quite needed because we want them to be on one level. So what we can do is we can get rid of the Z values. We don't want that to be modified or to be on an upper direction. If it runs again, now we will have set values. And what do we have is that they're completely straight with the X and the Y value. We can make a comparison for those values. So let's do some handling data in order to get our grids properly. So think of this process as if you already know how your CAD plans work. You can use the same type of scripts once another for doing the same type of purposes. So it's a one-time investment, but that will keep your processes aligned and can create workflows between CAD and Revit files to be created easily. So like this sample, we can analyze the vector. It can be clear cases in which these ones are actually on a rotation, so we'll need to make a different approach, but I think if we get the logic, it will help. So for this one, the easy way to do it would be going for abstract, vector, checking just the X. The vector X value is going to run with a positive 0 or it has a value, having a value. So what we can do, it's okay. We're going to use them with a comparison. So we want to find the elements that are actually 0. Not this one that is exactly 0. And it says false and true for the values. So since in this case we are having just two different variants, we can use a function that goes from the let's expect that it's called filtered by pull mask. Yeah, it's much no modified filter by pull mask. It's gonna be the mask of the elements. It's gonna be the lines of the elements. Now we have separated one from the other. So, okay, that's good. But we still need to know which grid goes before which one and how they're gonna be called. So for doing that, we need them all to be on the same path. For that, let's review if we can make a small line that gives us this idea of how they're working. So easy way to do that, we can check on the middle points, and then with that grid system, find out which line comes first and which one comes second. So we can review it as well by clicking on the filter variable mask and doing the show labels. Show labels is telling me that I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it seems that it's already coordinated. On the other way, we have 0, 7, 6. So if we follow this pattern, it will work because they will have different location and they will have different naming. So let's start analyzing how those will need to be.